iRacing is more than a racing simulation. The physics are relentless and the competition is elite. But if you think you've seen everything this title has to offer, you haven't. Because what you're looking at right now isn't pre-rendered. This is raw reality, captured directly through the lenses of a new Pimax Dream Air. But achieving this level of flawless, uncompromising presence takes the right setup. Today I'm pulling back the curtain and I'm giving you my exact in-game settings and a masterclass guide on dialing in dynamic foveated rendering with Tobii eye tracking, testing the new Studio Form X1P facial interface, and deep diving into field of view testing and showing you why this small form factor headset will change your sim racing experience completely. I was skeptical about the Pimax Dream Air, but after spending now over a month of using this small form factor 8K micro OLED headset that is smaller than my iPhone and weighs the same as an Apple, I've had some incredible experiences so far with it. And speaking of apples, the Pimax Dream Air also shares the same Sony micro OLED panels that are virtually identical to those found in the Apple Vision Pro. And there really cannot be any higher accolade than that, and it shows. Now, as soon as I unboxed this, I was blown away not only by its form factor, but it is unlike any other Pimax headset that's ever gone before it. Now, the main change is that when you put this headset on, I actually had to sit for a few moments to comprehend the visuals. And as you saw from the opening visual clip, they are jaw-dropping. And I've never seen colours like this. They are simply mind-blowing. Now, we all know in sim racing, visual acuity is important. Being able to clearly see the braking markers, the apex, and of course depth perception. But what about persistence? Fast-moving objects have no ghosting, there's no mirror, no chromatic aberration. And if I'm being super picky and looking around a very peripheral edge, then there's a very slight brown tinge, but you really have to look for it. And this is common in many other micro OLED optics. But the colours pop in a way you've never imagined. The contrast is deep and the blacks are absolutely awe-inspiring. Now, like many, I found the supplied facial interface didn't quite sit right, but Pimax have released a new larger facial interface that they are providing to all new and existing owners. But this Studio Form X1P facial interface has been an absolute game changer. Now, I played iRacing for 8 hours and I literally had to pull myself away from the experience, and then I couldn't wait to get back into it the very next day. Now let's begin by demonstrating dynamic foveated rendering, what benefits this can bring to you regardless of whatever GPU you are using. The Pimax Dream Air offers exceptional performance in iRacing, even without dynamic foveated rendering on. Using the PC specification I'm showing on screen, I'm now getting 90 FPS at 90Hz using Pimax Play at 1.0 high render resolution at the Nürburgring in the BMW M4 GT3. Notice also that I'm using max quality settings and also have 3 mirrors enabled in the simulation. So why talk about dynamic foveated rendering? Dynamic foveated rendering in the Dream Air, just like the headset's bigger brother, works exceptionally well, and on my system in particular, the Core Ultra 9 285K being a 24-core high-end processor is also well renowned for content creation. But the reason I mention the Core Ultra 9, however, is that a number of users on AMD have also experienced issues in iRacing, and I helped a number of users with the 9800X3D, who also had the OpenXR toolkit. As it transpired, activating the turbo mode in OpenXR toolkit resolved this issue for them with the micro stutters. So it's also worth joining my Discord for free, where I'm happy to share my settings in the majority of sim racing titles, and it's also completely free. Talking of settings, I will also show the settings used in the simulator in the video, but they're also in there. If you have a 5090 and a high-spec PC, then the results are clear to see, but if you don't, it will certainly help you achieve far higher frame rates, less stutter, and an overall smoother experience. Even in this example with DFR on in the 5090 now, it's taking a load off the GPU and lowering temperatures, and there's absolutely no difference in visual quality, and I would actually say it also feels smoother. So if you have a Dream Air and you have this excellent high-end feature, you should certainly take advantage of it. And as always, here's also some through the lens footage, and I think it's incredibly important to actually show the actual quality of the through the lens too. We're going to be taking a look at the in-game settings later, but we first need to activate eye tracking in Pimax Play. Begin by setting the runtime to Pimax OpenXR, then image quality to high or 1.0. Finally, in device, we then need to enable eye tracking and then proceed to eye tracking calibration. In eye tracking calibration, look at each dot on the screen and you should see the dot respond to your point of focus. If it does not, then you need to then press the Enter or A button to calibrate. And once again, once you're in the calibration tool, you then need to follow the dot around on screen. Once you follow the dot around and proceeded to the final calibration, it will then come up with a confirmation on screen that it's been successful. So in the game settings, we need to go to display, VR, and then we need to activate Foveated and then allow eye tracking. In this instance, I'm also going to activate a function called show eye tracking, and I don't think I've ever seen this done in any video, so this will be quite unique for this particular video. You'll be able to actually see live my actual point of focus as we actually race around Suzuka here in this Porsche 911 GT3. So in case you don't know what I'm talking about here, I'm talking about the blue dot that you can see in the center of the screen here. So if you follow that round, and you can see as I drive round that I'm focusing on the vehicle in front, it's then moving on to the distant objects. I'm just having a random look around at points here, but generally it will focus on the vehicle in front. As I move around the transitions and around the corners, you'll see my eye gaze focus onto the apex, and then look for the braking points and all various points of focus in line here. You see my point of focus move onto the apex there, and I can see I'm now looking around the corner clearly for the vehicle in the distance. It's quite an interesting visual representation to show you exactly how it works. You can see how super accurate this also is as well. One of the initial concerns I had about the Pimax Dream Air once receiving it was that the Tobii eye tracking wouldn't be as good as it is in the actual Pimax Super V, Pimax Dream Air's bigger brother. And I'm really satisfied to say, as you can see here clearly demonstrated, that there is absolutely no issue with the Tobii eye tracking and it works absolutely fantastically. The only issue I did encounter, however, was with the actual Studio Form X1P facial interface. So using the 3mm one, it gets you much closer to the actual lenses, and with that comes interruption to the eye tracking itself. Now, the actual issue was that you have to actually position the actual facial interface cushion correctly around the actual outer edge of the X1P. If you don't, then it does actually interfere with the erase of the eye tracker, as I'm showing you with a couple of pictures on screen as well. I actually did also raise this on Reddit just to alert other users as well, but once positioned correctly, there's absolutely no issue. And you can see here that I'm using a 3mm gasket in use with the X1P, and the actual eye tracking is working perfectly. If you want to grab a Pimax Dream Air for yourself, you can head down to the link in the video description below and use the code NLSimGaming25 at the checkout to get a discount, or scan the QR code on screen here. Plus, when you buy using my link, you also get to benefit from my exclusive Pimax Ambassador support. If you experience any hitches or issues during your buying process, you can reach out to me personally and I'll escalate your ticket directly to my Pimax representative, including Pimax support team who are also resident in my Discord server. Now, this gives you complete reassurance from start to finish, and you can find all the full details on how that works inside my Discord, which is also completely free to join, and everybody is welcome. As you can see, the Dream Air is an amazing performing headset in iRacing, and here are a few examples of gameplay footage, starting again with a BMW M4 GT3 at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. So DFR offers a considerable benefit to users who own any GPU, but let's talk about the overall experience in the Dream Air, moving on to the Studio Form X1P. The obvious one is comfort. This is vastly improved, and you may have seen in my installation guide where I showed the various facial interfaces. The fabric ones come in a range of sizes: 3mm, 8mm and 12mm, and also a PU leather type option. Now, I've tried all versions of this over the past few weeks and all of them were very comfortable, but the winner for me has to be the 3mm fabric. Not only because the fabric is of a fantastic soft, almost memory foam type feel, but in the warm weather we're experiencing in the UK at the moment, the PU leather effect generated perspiration. And of course, you want to know what's important. What is the benefit of the field of view, and also what's light bleed like? These are the most common questions that people have asked on Reddit. So we're going to move on to some field of view tests in a moment, but I'm pleased to say that the light bleed is minimal. You are much closer to the lenses, and because of this, a relatively large gap of the stock interface is minimised. Even though the stock interface had a cloth which is essentially overlapping the nose, it's not required here at all. And on screen now are some close-ups showing exactly how close you get to the lenses. And because the Pimax Dream Air uses the same concave pancake micro OLED lenses as its bigger brother, the Pimax Super, you also don't have to worry about your eyelashes brushing against the lenses, which is a really very intelligent design. You may have seen recently Pimax's presence at the Sim Racing Expo, and here are also some pictures on screen from the event, but the feedback from the many attendees who tried the Dream Air and Dream Air SE was overwhelmingly positive. And this not only reinforces Pimax's commitment to the sim racing community, but also their commitment to iRacing itself. Pimax have also partnered with Motorsport Simulations to sponsor the Suzuka 1000 km special event, and I previously featured this in a video on the Pimax Super. There simply is not any other VR hardware manufacturer out there showing such a commitment to the gaming communities as Pimax, and I'm always happy to support them in their ongoing commitment to do so. The Dream Air represents a huge evolutionary leap for Pimax and is a direct reaction to the consumer's desire for small form factor, direct display ports, high-end VR hardware. Before we move on to the field of view test using Test HMD with both the Studioform X1P and also the stock interface, as promised, here are the in-game graphical settings used. And you may also wonder why I have DFR enabled in these settings. Now this is a well-known fix for the oversaturation in VR, and it's direct information from the iRacing's forum. And as always, I post settings for all popular sim racing titles in my Discord, so you can always reference them in there too. But these settings are max quality, and there have been a few tweaks to the number of mirrors as you can see, but you will agree that the in-game visuals shown through the lens are of near desktop quality and look absolutely stunning. So now let's move on to the field of view test, and let's start with the stock facial gasket. Pimax stated that the Dream Air is 90 degrees vertically and 110 degrees horizontally, and using Test HMD there are always variables. My IPD is 67, and using the stock interface I got 86 degrees vertically and 98 degrees horizontally, which I was pretty surprised about, but I do know that this can vary. But this is true to what I got on the day. There are also a number of factors that can also influence this. All I can say is that the field of view was really satisfying to me personally. While we're here, I thought let's have a check on focal clarity, and the Snellen test was crystal clear and completely readable at a distance of 4 meters, which is excellent. And then on to image clarity. So in the image test, as you know how much I love my through the lens footage, on the colour range is absolutely out of this world in the Dream Air. And I'm sure you'll also agree looking at the actual through the lens footage on the right hand side of the screen too, and you can see that this is just simply out of this world. But we can always count on our friends at Studioform to deliver the goods, and the X1P pretty much puts us on the money as far as FOV goes, basically getting us to the stated FOV, with 90 degrees vertically and 180 degrees horizontally. Now this makes me wonder if the actual on-paper FOV is excluding any facial interface, which makes it interesting, but this alone makes the Studioform X1P a clear essential accessory, and remember the link in the video description to get yours today. The Dream Air in iRacing is a game changer. It's lightweight, the visuals are the best I've seen, and having moved from a Pimax Super, having used that in iRacing for over a year now, I honestly thought that nothing could top it. But the Dream Air, with its small form factor, combined with the added comfort of new mods such as the Studioform X1P facial interface, and more upcoming modifications to come, all make this add up to an incredibly compelling package. Like I said earlier in the video, you also have the benefits if you order via the link in the video description and using the discount code NLSimGaming25 of additional buyer assurance via my Discord channel. Now, as an example of this, I've also assisted a number of other subscribers, including Simon, who purchased using my code and received his device. And he also received it very quickly, but he also then purchased 2 HTC One base stations from Facebook Marketplace and was having tracking issues. Now, I helped him troubleshoot for 5 hours, but I also got immediate support from Pimax support, who are also present in my Discord to assist. And after looking at the logs, he unfortunately had one faulty base station, which he also then found was rattling. He then proceeded to order 2 Valve V2 base stations as I originally suggested, and now his experience is perfect. Now, just to reiterate, I'm an approved Pimax Sim Racing ambassador and also have settings and other help sections within my Discord, and it's a huge reassurance having a resource to help you, whether it's questions about setup, settings for popular sim racing titles, or just a general chat. Now, my Discord is also free and everyone is welcome to join, so be sure to do so by using the link in the video description. These are exciting times in VR, and I've never been able to play my favourite sim racing title for 8 hours continuously. This really does tick every box for competitive or casual sim racing. Now, here are some other videos that are also related and I'm sure you'll also enjoy. Let me know in the comments what you think about the incredible Pimax Dream Air. And I'll see you in the next one.